Yep.
There you go. Okay, good deal. One attendee. All right, Nick, I'm going to mute myself and kind of be back in the background.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Hey, did you forward the meeting on to somebody? Because whoever just got on is write your name. They can go in and change their name. So that
Kristen, if Kristen, and then who else was it? There was two people. Tim Buckley as well.
Okay. They didn't get the invite. I'll get it. I was trying to get it set up and I had to change my account settings. And so next time we do this, I'll have it set up through me and we should get it, make sure we get everybody on there.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. There were the two that have been added since we started. So
okay.
Get you all an updated list.
Perfect. That'll work.
And I'll change my name.
Hey, Kristen, thanks.
No problem.
So whatever you want, Kristen, you can just,
just
get creative.
Is this another glitch in the Zoom program, or are you joining us multiple times, Nick?
No, I sent it to the people that aren't on. There's an updated list of committee members that I didn't get, Brian. So we just got sent to the original list. So then I forwarded mine to the people that were new. My fault.
Well, and now I'm having trouble finding how to rename myself. Usually it just pops up on the participant list, but I'm not seeing the option.
I don't know. I'm not that tech savvy to know how to change names.
Is it KR? Is it IN or EN?
EN.
EN. 2 L's, Alistair.
MCALLISTER.
That's what I thought, but there you go.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
And the other one's Tim Buck.
Tim Buckley. Okay. I'll rename Tim.
Being Nick is not a bad thing though, so I
Oh,
hope.
I mean, everyone's rushing to change their name, making me a complex. Give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started.
Hey, Nick, I'm on, but I'm not going to be able to talk a lot. I just want to make sure you do know I'm trying to pick up as best I can. I'm in some other meetings here, but I want to make sure you knew I was on.
All right. Thanks, Judge.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. We'll go ahead and get started. Lance wasn't able to make it today, but so I'll just give the update that he was going to get, and maybe Attorney Lester can speak into it. That they are formally going to make the request for funding for the CJCC at the October 11th Quorum Court, and so I think Brian is writing that up, and JP Johnson wasn't able to be here, so he just wanted to give me an update that they're going to go ahead and submit that, and the funding would pay for the coordinator. So we don't know. We're kind of working on what next steps look like. I don't know. I guess there's a big question, or Matt or Brian or anybody, how much involvement we would have. Obviously, this individual will be working for Judge Woods, will be on his staff. So I don't know, if we do get that approved, what do we want that process to look like for hiring the CJCC coordinator position?
I guess what we need to do, I mean, we've already got a job description. So
Yeah.
I guess we need to figure out the selection, if that's going to be the entire committee or someone in conjunction with Judge Wood, or how do we want to do it? I mean, I guess that's what we need to figure out is that process involved, because I mean, I don't know.
Attorney Lester, do you have some insight on how that should work?
So because the person will be working as a county employee and on the judge's staff, the judge will put together a selection committee, which is typically comprised of the elected official, our HR director, which we have a new HR director that will be starting Monday, and along with myself, and then the judge. I don't know. I've not talked to the judge about it. Something we'll have to work out, but that may include the two co-chairs, Nick, you and Matt, to sit in on that. The county has a procedure by which we have to go, and we have as far as how we go about doing interviews and how many people we have to interview. And so we'll just follow county policy on all that. So once we get to that point, then the judge can make that selection. I think having everybody on the committee would be way too much. Because we're gonna have to do sit down interviews. So we will, once we get this position approved, then I'll kind of leave it up to the judge on how he wants to go forward with it.
Okay, sounds great. That kind of leads into the Quorum Court is requesting us to update them on the October 11th Quorum Court meeting. So we'll kind of brief what we've been doing, And then also kind of just, again, pitch the need for that coordinator position, because I think we all agree if there is a full-time person focusing on this, we're going to get a lot more accomplished than us trying to find a few minutes here and there throughout the week to try to get these things pushed forward. So we'll look to do that. Where we're going to be doing the most work is in our subcommittees. So I'm going to have everyone kind of reach out to me and let me know what they were thinking. I know I'm trying to think if this is the most up-to-date one, because Leanna wanted to move. Okay, so this isn't, but Leanna wanted to be moved to the pre-trial. So we're just going to discuss what those subcommittees are going to look like. Matt's going to go over 2 of them, and I'll go over 1 of them. But ultimately, this is where we're going to start to push for some change, and so for some investment from the county, as well as some creative thinking and procedures on our end for all the stakeholders. So Matt, you want to go ahead and talk about the pre-trial?
Sure. And I'm assuming everybody got the list. It was sent out as part of the agenda. This is the committees we'd requested if anyone had any preferences. And I think Leanna had also requested the court case processing, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll update that. And so Leanna, I think you'll be on both pretrial and court case processing. Is that correct? Is that what you had requested? Okay. All right, good. So the pretrial subcommittee, I mean, that's mainly going to deal with what we're obviously need to focus on are what I consider the 2 biggest concerns that we're facing right now is the jail population and the failure to appear rate. So we'll be looking at ways that we can reduce both of those and look at any pretrial programs that we can implement that will allow us to keep the jail population down and hopefully have a better appearance rate in court. And obviously, the name of it is so this will be from initial detention until their court date. So we'll be focusing on what we can do in that time period. What kind of services, if it's going to be just a general picture of what we're looking at. So with the focus being on those individuals that we can safely release from the jail until their court date, and what we can do, what if it's some type of programs or whatever we need to do, coming up with ideas of things that can improve the appearance rate, because I think most of us know, or we've all realized that that's one of the biggest drivers in the population increase. I think, at least from my standpoint, I think those are the 2 biggest things that are causing issues for the system right now. And we've got people who are sitting in there because they've missed a court date, and the system is getting bogged down with people missing court dates. So those will be the main focuses, and we'll look into, I think, entry into diversion programs. It's going to be something that is somewhat spread across all 3 subcommittees, but that's something that we can all work in conjunction on. I'll have new ideas of all those different things, and come up with something, because obviously what we're going to need to look at in addition to coming up with ideas is cost, because if we develop a system of programs, whatnot, whatever we do, it's going to cost money. So we're going to have to figure out, that's another thing we'll have to figure out. So, but I suggest, with all committees, we get to work as soon as possible on this, and so we can have a general idea of the direction we're heading when we go to the quorum court meeting or the jail meeting on the 11th. So I think you're going to talk about the programming, Nick.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Mike had a question.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, come on, Mike. We need your wisdom, man. Okay. the one thing that we do need to do is we need to kind of have somebody say, I'm going to head up the process of wrangling the people on that committee to shoot an email out to everyone and say, hey, we need to find a time and a day that we can all jump on a Zoom or get together in person, whichever. When we get crazy, we can see each other in person. Is there somebody in that group that would be willing to do that for the pretrial? That is Parker, Durrett, Johnson, Helder, and Houston.
I don't mind doing it if
Okay.
nobody else is eager to. So that's fine.
All right. So Matt will send out an email this week, today or tomorrow, just so he can start, because that usually takes a while. I remember last time we tried, it took us some months to get it one locked in. So I will go over the programming opportunities. So Kristen, Laura, Judge Beaumont, and myself. So our focus is going to be increasing opportunities of reentry services for those being released from the jail, improve the outcomes for defendants charged with DUI, targeting misdemeanors and veterans, improve the outcomes of individuals with serious mental illness issues through the implementation of a mental health court, and then early entry into diversionary programs. So is that, does somebody want to email everybody for that one?
I can, Nick, because I think you've probably got a lot on your plate.
Thank you. Okay. All right, great. So really we just need to do our best in these groups to be super creative, because we're all stakeholders in what we're doing. We kind of created the system we're in, but we can all say, hey, there's some growth options and some potential to look outside of the box. And so that's what we'll be doing in those groups. All right. Matt, you want to go over the court case processing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, court case processing is essentially going to be us focusing on areas in which we can speed up the resolution of cases. If there's, some areas that we need to look at, something that we're not doing, that's going to be Judge Taylor, Judge Lindsay, Leanna, and me. So we'll just be focusing on whether it's the diversion programs or getting cases resolved quicker than we're currently doing. It's just kind of an idea of looking for places for improvement. So that's mainly it. Is we're going to be focusing on. I mean, obviously there's some pretrial aspects to it because we're focusing on before the disposition, but the main focus is just going to be on getting a quicker disposition than we're doing right now, and looking for areas to improve in that. So that's essentially it.
These mute buttons. Who
Yeah.
wants to send the email out for that group?
I don't mind
Leanna.
doing that either. Or
Okay.
You might want to ask Judge Taylor. I know she's not on today because she's in a jury trial, but Matt, so you don't have too much, you might want to ask her if she's able to do that.
okay.
Since she didn't show up, we could just say she has to do it.
Yeah, Judge Beaumont just nominated her. So
Yeah. Okay. This isn't on the agenda, but I had a couple things I should have reached out in advance. So if you don't have anything, but Sheriff Helder and
I think, is that Nick or is that me? It's freezing.
I think it's Nick.
Okay.
It's Nick.
Yeah.
I heard my name mentioned and then he locked up. So
Did Nick freeze out? Did something
Yeah, I
happen?
think I assume he's trying to get back on. So
Did
I
you
guess,
have anything? Let me just say real brief again. I think most of you guys are aware that Ozark has transitioned out from the working with us on the CSU, but continued and agreed to continue to work with us in the county, as well as helping us work through reopening or visiting and getting another partner in to manage and be our medical service provider. We have been working with UAMS since the transition of Ozark, and Cam Patterson, the chancellor, jumped out before we got through everything and said that, hey, he's excited about working and getting UAMS to partner and be our service provider. However, the ones who have to do all the work said, hey, Judge, we need to make sure we get a RFQ out there. And so we have put the RFP out there. So we're working through that process. And we'll see all the players who apply a bid opening. And if UMS is the one that is the selected, then we obviously will be working with UMS that should be happening. I think late next week we should have the bid opening for that. If I'm right, Brian, I can't recall the actual date, but we'll do the bid opening and see where everyone stands, and then we'll start the process of seeing them manage through and open up the CSU, making sure their staffing is all correct, because that's going to be the hard part as we look across the country with medical staffing for everyone. It's just a tough place to be in. So, but anyway, so some good news on that front, that we will have a medical service provider to help us with our Northwest Arkansas CSU. Nick, did you get back on?
I am. Our internet
Okay.
doesn't work for some reason.
I got you.
So here am I on my phone. What I was trying to say, I don't know where I got cut off. I was wondering if Sheriff Helder or if Mike Parker can give us an update on how's the jail situation going right now, and how is probation and parole going right now? Has there been any changes? Are things pretty similar? Because I know the courts are back up and running full steam now. Has that changed what you guys are doing, or you're kind of in the same spot as when we discussed probably about 4 or 5 months ago?
yeah, I can jump in. This is Tim Helder. I think our numbers this morning were about 701 to be exact. So we're packed, and with our quarantine efforts and everything we're doing here, I think last count we had 110 on the floor, 127 sleeping on the floor. Not a good situation by any stretch of the imagination, but we're fighting the good fight. I am, as of today, 41 down as far as employees in the detention center. If you do the math, that's about a shift and a half worth of people. So we are, our folks are exhausted, and our numbers are overwhelming. So we have started a few additional initiatives to decrease the numbers that we can. We're working with the marshal's office, the ADC with Mike Parker. He can discuss a little bit about what they're trying to do to help us here in a minute, and Madison County. Those numbers aren't going to be overly significant, but it kind of goes back to what Matt was saying about the FTAs and kind of overwhelming the court system. So we'll just have to see what happens, but that's what we're doing as of right now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
and I can add that we're still the monitor program is still up and going. So we're all trying to identify individuals who, if they can't be released on their own recognizance, can be released on a monitor. So I'm in usually 3 to 4 times a week in contact with deputies Harder and Cottle in reference to they're the ones doing all the monitoring, and then they identify individuals who they think would fit their criteria for being released on a monitor, and then they contact me to see if we're okay with it. So that's up and going, and we're doing as many as we can. So we're trying to do our part.
How's that going, Matt? Are you seeing positive results from that? Are those folks showing up to court? Do you have the data on that yet?
I mean, you have some people who don't show up, but I don't really have. I'd have to really go through the numbers, and I can probably get with Harder and Cottle because I know they keep up with it, and so. Like I said, I don't have the numbers for total number of individuals versus people who have failed to appear. I know that we've had a few failures to appear, but we've probably had more individuals who have been non-compliant than we've had failed to appear. So I think it's, I mean, I don't want to give you a specific, but I think it is an improvement. So I can check on that and get everybody, hopefully get everybody some statistics, something more accurate than just me blindly guessing about it.
Thanks. Do you have anything for us, Parker? Has anything changed in your world?
Yeah, for the most part, we are really, really busy now. All the courts are back up and running. There's a lot of backlog. I guess they're trying to get caught up on, and they are turning out a lot of cases to supervision. My intake staff is doing about 50 to 60 intakes a week of new cases, which is at least a third more than they usually do.
Wow.
And I can tell you usually, our case number, we would be losing that many cases and our numbers would stay the same, but we are not getting rid of cases either through regular termination or revocation at near the rate than we used to. So what I'm trying to beat around the stump here, we are getting a lot more people under supervision than we have in the last year. The number per month is going up pretty good, but we are struggling like the Sheriff Helders there. Staffing is an issue. I'm currently down about 7 officers myself, which is about a third of my staff. So
wow.
In my Rogers office anyway. So yeah, things are changing.
Okay.
And excuse me, and as far as our jail population, we're doing everything in our power to not put anybody in the jail right now. So if they are in there, that is the last resort we have with them. So, and I've talked to Sheriff Helder and his staff. I'm sure they're aware of that, but we don't stick anybody in there that doesn't absolutely need to be there at this point.
Okay. All right. Did anybody have anything else that they wanted to discuss today?
Hey, it's Tim Helder. I forgot to mention, and then when Matt brought up the ankle monitoring program, our in-house system, we currently have 40 out on ankle monitors, and I think we still have 8 holdovers from the outside sector. We're trying to slowly absorb all those into our in-house system. We can do it much more cost effectively and a little bit more hands-on monitoring. So our intent is to grow that program, slowly but surely. We want to do it responsibly and make sure that our guys can handle the load, but we're at 40 right now in-house.
Okay.
Hey, Sheriff, quick question. How many people do you typically have in your COVID protocol, whether it's quarantine or however y'all do that? So I'm assuming that is a driver of, a lot of the people sleeping on the floors, or is that inaccurate?
No, that's accurate. It's a big part of it right now. I think this morning we had over 180 in quarantine, which takes up a number of our blocks. And as you may or may not know, everybody, we've had over 500 positives within the detention center from start till now. Knock on wood. As of today, before we do testing coming out of quarantine, we have 0. So we're very happy about that. Our medical team continues to do a phenomenal job of monitoring all that. I think since start, we've had right around 100 or just over employees that have had COVID. So it's been challenging, but yeah, Matt, and back to answer your question with the quarantine protocols we have in place, we definitely run out of spacing for everybody.
Does that take 14 days? When someone gets booked in and they get put in there, they're in there for the 14 days or how long?
That's correct. Once we get a certain number, they're in quarantine for 14, and then we test them before they can be moved into general population. And that's when we generally catch our COVIDs. We don't test them on the front end unless they become symptomatic. But then as a group, before we'll move them out of quarantine into general population and within the detention center, they're tested. And so that's when we know if they're good to go or not.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, by the way, Jay just reminded me, guys, just so you know that we offer vaccination on a daily basis in the back. And we currently are at over 80% that have taken the vaccine, our detention population, which we're pretty proud of. So,
yeah, that's amazing. Great job. Leanna, do you want to give an update, just kind of how things are going with Public Defender's Office?
Yeah. What Matt was talking about, the FTAs and the number that we have, and that's a big part of the jail population. And an idea that Matt and I had kind of thrown around is having a amnesty day where we sort of like the library does with overdue fines, or I think some of the district courts do it as well, where we set up something for people with FTAs pending to come in and we see if we can just get those pled out. And so that's something that I think we're going to be working on as well.
That's a great idea. We were, I was at an event. It was a statewide one, and a number of counties were discussing that as something that they're implementing more right now, those amnesty days. And I think that the reason that a lot of them were talking about it was because of the length of time which they go to court. So if they're, during COVID, it's, maybe 6 months before you go to court, and the longer it is, the less likely these folks are going to show up. And so I'm glad that you all are discussing that topic. That's great. All right. Does anybody else have anything to say? Any questions? Our next CJCC meeting is on 10/28 at 11 o'clock. So if everyone could put that in their calendars. We are working to get the links on a reoccurring basis, so that we'll get them out on a more timely situation. And I'm going to get an updated list to the county so that they know who's all on the committee, to make sure all the links get sent out. Sorry for any confusion today. We'll definitely get that straightened out. And with that, we just want to honor your all's time and thank you all for that jumped on the meeting to watch, to attend it as well. We appreciate your time and your interest in the work that we're very passionate about doing, and hope you all have a great weekend.
Thank you.